Welcome to the France24 interview. This evening, the man who earned his own nickname, the luminous bad guy. He's the hero of a 2-hour-long documentary made by American filmmaker Barbet Schroeder, the lawyer of terrorists dedicated to his controversial life. You recognize Jacques Verges. Good evening.
Good evening.
So, let's remind people of your career. You defended the Algerian independentists, Klaus Barbie, Carlos, other Middle Eastern terrorists, Omar Bongo, an African head of state, but also and Simone Weber. You're 82 years old, but you look at least 10 years younger.
Thank you very much.
So a compliment to begin with. And I almost forgot, you passionately love life, the pleasures of life. You're an Epicurean, which differentiates you from many of your customers.
Yes, probably, yeah.
Let's talk about the film. When you saw the film, you, at the end of the first showing, you were irritated. You didn't like the film.
No, I did. There are details that really I find rather irritating, but to speak globally, I think the film is interesting because for most of the film, things that are shown, half a century of Revolutionary War, torture, and also the whole legal experience.
So, Jacques Verges is situated in the context which explains his fights.
And I like that.
But perhaps there are some details.
There are details which really are quite irritating because at some point they talk about an overdraft I had at the bank, and I said to Barbet Schroeder, you know, if you're interested, right now I also have an overdraft. I don't see the point, really. We imagined an intrigue between Madame Kopp and myself, Carlos's wife at the time. I have a lot of affection for her, but that's it. And we talk about African heads of state qualified as dictators, and I'm supposed to be their lawyer, but nobody's putting them on trial. However, those that I did defend, like Soprano in Mali or Abdoulaye Wade, who wasn't yet elected, we don't talk. There's nothing said about them, but that's a side issue. But there's a half a century of history that's talked about in a way which I think is interesting.
There are things which you don't mention. For example, the film suggests that you perhaps served the French.
Well, I don't mind that. I was saying to Barbet Schroeder, you're like Sherlock Holmes. You put a certain number of questions, and they're not questions. For example, you say to Cambodian Khmers, were they in Cambodia?
During the terrible period?
Yes, of course. If they were there, if I was there, they can't say that I was there, and if I wasn't there, they'd also say that I wasn't there. So it's a useless question. Then you ask somebody from the French intelligence service, is he part of your team? He can't answer. Well, if he's part of the team, we'd have to wait until he's dead. So these are non-questions.
And what about Carlos? Carlos says that you betrayed him.
Yes. But in what way? I was his lawyer for 4 months, and his defense system had nothing to do with my strategy. I dropped it.
Did you advise him to withdraw his claim?
I didn't say to withdraw. I said I wouldn't do it. But he had other lawyers who could have taken care of that.
Why didn't you want to defend him?
Because it was going to be a defeat.
But he was kidnapped.
Yes, but Barbie was kidnapped as well. You know, Argou was tied in front of Notre Dame de Paris, the cathedral, and he wasn't sent back to Germany. So it was a useless battle, and I don't like useless battles.
That was, you were famous with your friendship with a Nazi banker, François Genoux.
No. Genoux was Swiss citizen and who was a complete Nazi. He was a manager in an Arab bank. He was the Swiss banker in that bank, and they were the only bank during the Algerian War that was accepted by that belonged to the FLN, the Algerian Liberation Front. So I met him there. I was courteous with him, but I wasn't his friend really.
But there is a certain degree of consistency. You defended Klaus Barbie. Somebody had to defend Klaus Barbie. In your latest book, My Great Battles, you talk about Nazism, and you say something which is historically inaccurate. The success of Nazi Germany in part of Europe accelerated decolonization. Isn't this a way of reducing the importance of Nazism?
It's a question of relativizing it. It's not a question of excusing Auschwitz. But in India, there was a movement called Git India, because the British were in difficulty, and Nehru, who was obviously a Democrat, defended the people in the liberation army there who collaborated with the Japanese.
Barbara Schroeder's film and your latest book focuses on your fight against colonization, which was your special fight, and you were profoundly you were colonized. You had the mentality of a colonizer.
It's true, but not completely true. I'm a double personality. I'm culturally European and Western. If you look at references, Thomas Mann, Shakespeare, Dostoevsky, André Gide. Having said that, I was brought up in colonial countries, and I have the perspective of a colonized person, and I have a point of view that cannot stand not respecting dignity.
In your book, there are some very poignant scenes involving some of your former clients in Algeria, and you're almost in tears.
Yeah, I think that I'm very touched by that.
You talk a lot in your book about the massacres of Sétif, and you describe them as few people have done so. Why? Here again, don't you ever talk about the FLN's crimes? You defended them. Can't you talk about their crimes today?
The crimes of the FLN, what we can call the crimes of the FLN, was between themselves, whereas at Sétif, it's a European population that massacres Arabs, men, women, and children. It's very different.
And the FLN also attacked European civilians. And this brings us to the issue of terrorism.
That's a question that's often been asked, and it's a good question. You're right. The resistance in France did not attack civilians. And I answered, but France was not a colony. If German colonizers had been in the Gers, they might have put a bomb in the cafe where the Germans were.
The cartoonist Cine says in the film that he has no scruples. He doesn't like to dirty his hands, but if he had to press on a button to explode a bomb, he would have done so.
Well, you know, I was a soldier for 3 years and a sub-officer in under de Gaulle. When you're a military person and you're a volunteer, it's to kill, and I did kill.
But not civilians.
Not civilians.
If you had to attack civilians for a just cause, would you do it?
I wouldn't do it, because I believe that it's not productive, and also the civilians shouldn't be targeted. Take the OAS, the French right wing that fought the Algerians. So the FLN, the Algerians, did terrorist acts about civilians, and the extreme right did as well. So the problem is whether public opinion is behind you in these acts.
One last question. Terrorism is mainly Islamist terrorism, which has also struck in Algeria. Your first wife was Algerian. You have children in Algeria.
My son is in Paris, and my daughter is in Lyon.
If one day a bomb exploded and one of your children was killed, would you change your attitude with regard to terrorism?
I would be overwhelmed, I would be stricken, but it's not because I would suffer personally that I would change my attitude to this sort of thing.
Would you be able to put things into perspective? Your relations with Verges are still good. It's for the film that you spoke out.
Well, yes. He also does that. It's true. There are some parts of the film that I don't like. You know, at the beginning he said, "I'll do the film, but I'm the one who decides. I choose the documents, and what they say in the business is that the final cut is mine. You cannot intervene." And I said, yes, and he was very surprised, and some friends said, he's going to trap you? And I said, I don't know how he can trap me. He did the same with Idi Amin. People will see that I don't have horns and a tail and a forked tongue. What I say people may agree or not agree with, but that's my position.
Thank you, Jacques Verges. Now the latest news on France 24.